everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of First Look, Final Word, podcast where we take you along to see a movie with us. I'm Pete.
And I'm Trevor. What's up, you Texans?
Texans? That's the best you can do? That's fair, that's right. It tracks.
I totally forgot that was my thing up until this second.
He's like, think of something quick. Massacres.
we have a big group of fans from Texas.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
I should have said cannibals. It was right there.
Yeah, you could have said a lot of different things, to be fair, but that's all right. We'll move on.
Although, maybe I shouldn't give too much away, right? Because this is your first time watching this movie.
You mean there's cannibals in this movie? Yeah.
So we're
doing the Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Yeah, we're doing the Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Because it's Halloween. This is our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
It's for spooky season.
Coming to you a little early.
Yeah.
To still hit the season.
Yeah.
So this is us covering the classic 1974 Tobe Hooper movie, not one of the remakes / requels that have very similar names to this.
Yeah, well, we were talking about this last week, and I was surprised. I was shocked to hear how many Texas Chain Saw Massacre movies there are. Did you say there was 9? Did I get that right? Or
there was 9. There are 9 movies. I have finished them all as of today.
Wow! So we've got a full-on Texas Chain Saw Massacre expert here now.
Yeah, but
I've seen precisely 0 of all those 9 movies, so it should be a good mix here.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, did you know that this is about cannibals going into it?
Not really.
Or did I just spoil that accidentally?
Not really. I know it's like about a family, right? Weird family of cannibals or something.
Oh, so you did know that, yeah.
But I don't know anything really specific about it. I know he's got a chainsaw. Title gives that away.
Well, sometimes there's not a chainsaw.
Well, I mean, it's one of those movies, though, that even though I haven't seen it, it's like, I think I mentioned this last week on our Venom episode. Check that out, guys. That it sort of just seeped into popular culture so much. I feel like I've seen a couple of scenes from it, but I think I've seen a bunch of scenes just like the other things have paid homage to it by doing a similar version. So it's one of those movies that I feel like I've seen, even though I've not actually watched the actual movie. I've just seen bits and pieces of here and there. If that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. And I think I was going to give my overview of the rest of the series after we've watched it.
Okay, yeah, but I'd be interested to hear.
I'd like to say that I think that the figure of Leatherface is sort of more famous than these movies themselves.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Yeah, because that's what when someone says Texas Chain Saw Massacre, that's all I think of, and I think most people would be the same, right?
Yeah, and I think. Maybe this will allude to how I feel about these movies, but I feel like the sequels keep trying to do a version of Leatherface that maybe exists in the popular culture and not really as a response to the Leatherface that exists in these movies. I think continuity of character is a bit of an issue.
Well, that can happen, right? You get swept up in trying to get what the zeitgeist is of the fans' sort of perception of it versus like actually doing a movie. I feel like a lot that happens with a lot of horror movies. I think I know we've talked about that with like Halloween and stuff like that. I feel like it's not Halloween. What was the one we were talking about? Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of sort of.
Yeah, Jason's very different.
Went pretty crazy. Depending on the movie, it's a totally different character.
I guess, Halloween would be a good example of like a consistent villain, because he's always sort of just been like a supernatural boogeyman kind of guy.
True. Yeah.
I guess Freddy, for the most part, stayed pretty consistent, except for the remake.
You're right, which I haven't seen.
Yeah, he's always been a bit of a prankster.
Yeah, he's a bit goofy.
Yeah, but no. So I'm very excited for you to see this one.
And if you're into the spooky stuff, check out our Nightmare on Elm Street episode in our feed. We watched that one a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we also have an episode on The Shining, an episode on Alien Romulus.
Just many, many wonderful episodes.
Coraline. What a rich catalog we have.
Right? And I thought we never did horror stuff, but apparently we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're just racking them up. So I guess there's not much more to talk about, I think, because this is sort of just a bonus episode. We can maybe fly fast through it. I
don't know if we really want to... I don't know if you wanted to talk more about your history with it. I mean, I don't really have a history with it, so I wouldn't have much to say, but I know you've watched them all this year, but Like, had you seen them all previously, or?
So I had seen this movie. Well, actually, so I had first seen the remake from 2003 starring Jessica Biel.
Right.
My first exposure to this one. And I thought it was pretty good at the time. Then years later, I was kind of going through and watching like all the classic slasher movies.
Right.
And I saw this one for the first time, and I really liked it. I've seen it about 3 times now.
Okay.
So, without giving anything away, I think this movie's quite good, despite having many flaws to it.
No doubt.
So it's like a real like cheap guerrilla type of shooting they did for this one. And you'll definitely notice right away. I'm not really giving anything away.
Gotcha.
But it's funny because the franchise has kind of been chasing the highs that it established in this movie, which they did on a shoestring budget. Like it's quite unbelievable.
Right. Just saying. I kind of want to ask you like if it's any good, but if we should, like to your point, we should probably watch it first. So yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I don't have much of a history of it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm a bit of a chicken, so I haven't seen a lot of these movies, but
so
I'll be okay.
Before we got into it, so you probably noticed that I brought this this package with me here.
Oh yes.
So
Trevor's package.
I wanted to open this here with you because you can probably see from the top. It's the return address is from Kenneth Branagh.
Oh no! The saga continues, does it?
So yeah, so folks.
I thought it was just a gift for me.
So folks, yeah, like we've kind of been ignoring him. The last time that we'd heard from him, he sent us a cease and desist letter. We kind of just we end up ceasing a little bit, I guess, right?
we ceased a little bit, yeah. You haven't really chit talk kind of punter for a little while. I've got no problem with him.
So that's like he did leave us like a pretty good review on Apple.
Oh, did he? That's nice of him.
Yeah. Did you saw that one, didn't you?
I think I might have. I don't check Apple enough for the reviews. We should.
All right, well,
give us more reviews, guys.
Here, competing with Kenneth Branagh. So, I'll quickly read the review, and then maybe we can open this box and see all the stuff that's in there.
It's definitely from him as well. Like, nobody would lie.
Okay, so it starts off. The subject is "Wow," which I think is pretty good.
Wow, yeah, that's a good start. That's just wow. That's really shit.
top of the morning to ya.
Oh, there you go.
It's very interesting. Like he keeps these Irishisms. Like he did move as a kid, but I guess you never lose that. Kenneth Branagh here on one of my many burner accounts. After spending weeks brooding over the mean things that were said about me on the show, by Pete, I'm assuming he means, I decided to listen to more to collect evidence for my planned civil suit. Before I realized it, hours had passed and I was still listening. I'm hooked. I told my lawyer to beat it because I'm your number one fan. No hard feelings, guys. I'll be waiting for my invitation to guest on an episode. Oh,
I guess we never sent him an invitation.
We never sent him an invitation. I think this is what this box might be about.
Oh, well, we have his email as well. We definitely could have.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's my bad. Well, okay. So here, let me get into this box here.
Okay, go for it. Wow, that's a real life box going on here.
Okay, so I'll just kind of read out the contents of the box here so you can itemize this.
Yeah, you let us know what's in there, Trevor.
Okay, so all right, already it's a little disturbing.
Oh, is it?
There's a photo of me in front of my house mowing my lawn.
Of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of that.
Is it a good photo though? You're looking good.
It looks like it's through like a window,
like a tinted
windshield. Tinted windshield. Okay, so what else is in here? A single crow feather.
Okay. Well, maybe he wants you to sign the picture.
Okay, well,
maybe it's a quill. You sure it's not a quill?
No, it's a single crow feather. Okay, so there's a pocket watch with a cracked face. Okay, there's an inscription on the back that says, "Time is merely a suggestion."
Wow. Is this making any sense to you?
No.
It's very cryptic.
Okay. So there is a photo of a vintage theater.
Okay. Nice.
It kind of looks like a Kenneth Branagh type figure is standing in the window.
Kenneth Branagh type figure.
Okay. So, all right. So there's a manuscript in here.
Okay,
looks like
here we
looks
go.
like for a screenplay.
All right. Well, maybe he wants us to review it for him.
It's called The Man in the Shadows by Kenneth Branagh. Okay. Well, maybe we can read this this later.
We'll give it a read and I'll let you guys know.
Okay. And then looks like a playing card, and it's the Jack of Hearts, but there's a big X written on it.
Okay. Well, that's really confusing.
Okay. And then, there's another picture in here. All right, it looks like it's you mowing your lawn in front of your house.
Oh, wow, okay.
All right.
He was lucky to get that. I never do that.
Okay, there we go. So, collection of...
Wow, that's very nice of you, Kenneth, and we appreciate the gifts.
Is that how you're taking it?
I don't want to take any away because I'll be terrified otherwise.
I'm thinking about the timing here. Like, it's very close to Halloween.
Right, is it some kind of magic spell, do you think?
I don't know. There's no other explanation written on here.
Okay, well, I feel like we're missing it. We're missing some obvious ties here to something. They're very specific items that he said.
I don't know. I feel like this is something that a crazy person has sent us.
Oh yeah, well that's very true. Well, don't go calling him crazy on the air. I'm not going to be happy about that.
Okay.
I'll cut that bit out.
Okay, so Kenny, if you're listening to this,
Kenny.
We'd love you to guest on the pod.
Yeah, what's with the weird shit, man? Stop taking pictures of me.
I was thinking for a minute that you would be okay because you sent it to my house and the first picture was of me mowing my lawn, then had you in there too.
Yeah, maybe just didn't want me to feel left out.
I guess so. Yeah. When you were
I was starting to feel a bit left out. I'm going to be honest.
But yours was on the bottom of the box, so
like the first thing he put in.
He put that in first.
Okay. Oh, that's all right then.
All right. Any other meaning you can think of for this?
Like a crow feather and a Jack of Hearts. No, is there any relation to the Texas Chain Saw Massacre?
I don't think so. Aside from the fact that it's spooky and it's October, I don't think so.
No. Maybe he just had a random pile of stuff and he just threw it all in a box.
It could very well be.
I'm going to send him my garbage.
But maybe he's like traveling and he's like, these are precious things to me. I'm going to send them to these guys.
Okay, like we're a P.O. box. We'll just hold them for him.
Well, you know what? He did give us a 5-star review. So if you guys are listening, you want to give us a 5-star review, we will hold on to your stuff for you.
Feel free to... Well, we won't give Trevor's address out, but if you just send it to First Look Final Word Canada, I'm sure it will show up. Pretty much, that was pretty much bang on.
There you go.
Canada Post are pretty good for that stuff.
They're pretty good. You know what? They're dedicated.
They are.
So this episode's for them.
Sponsored by Canada Post. Well, that was unexpected. Yeah,
sorry for that. Kind of random.
Yeah, I kind of was expecting you to pull that box out. I don't really know how to react to that. You know what else we didn't talk about? What we talked about on last week's episode was our Venom impressions.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
we asked you guys to send in some voice notes for Venom impressions. We actually got we got tons, obviously.
Yeah. So why don't we leave this space here to play?
We'll drop it in
to play our favorite or favorites,
the winner.
depending on what.
We'll play the winners, and as I can say, you win a year's free subscription to the pod.
All right.
Ad free.
Here we go.
Hey guys, Venom here. Big fan of the podcast. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is how I actually sound. Crazy, right? Yeah. So back when I came to Earth on a spaceship or on a meteor, or whatever it was, had a talk with Marvel because they really wanted to use me in comics. And then, later on came Sony. But, You know, when I was signing away my likeness, I should have read those papers a little closer because they said they were going to replace my voice because it wasn't conducive to the character. Well, you know, when these movies came out, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, what is it? What is it with my voice? So anyway, I was just calling in, emailing this or whatever when I heard you're looking for Venom impersonations. You know, it's hard not to find it somewhat disrespectful. So, yeah, just calling in to set the record straight, you know? Thanks, guys. Love the pod.
If you haven't realized by now, we're not actually in the car this week. I guess we forgot to mention that. There was no movie theater.
Anything goes this episode.
There was no movie theater that we could find playing it, so we're just watching it in my basement.
There we go.
But that's all right. We're going to stick it on right now. Don't go anywhere, guys.
All right, wish us luck.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We just finished watching the Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Yeah, I hope you all just watched it too.
Yeah, you should be following along, right? Okay, so
Pete, you're a first timer.
yeah,
Seemed like you had an experience just now.
yeah, it's definitely like it lives up to its reputation. It's a weird one, I thought, because it's pretty fucking goofy. Like there's bits of it that you're like, this is goofy, but it's still terrifying. And I think a lot of that has to do with, like you said, about how the way it's shot and just like it's very like intense with the way it's shot and the sound design. It just makes you feel tense all the time. When if you took a step back, you're like, that's pretty daft, but also very creepy. Also very creepy imagery in it.
Well, honestly, like, you know, some of the best sound design ever. Like
it's insane. Just like it just puts you on edge the whole way through.
Yeah. And I'm not convinced like everything was 100% like on purpose. Like maybe there are a lot of happy accidents that could have sort of happened there, but
it's just like it's that kind of raw, visceral like quality to it, which is like you say, it's probably out of necessity because it's not like they had like all the best equipment. I'm assuming, but it just works so well for what it was trying to do.
One, I alluded to this earlier, but they're really kind of like they're chasing the tone that this movie caught.
Trying to get lightning in the bottles again.
Yeah, like I guess not for the entire franchise because some movies are trying to do different things, but
yeah, I'd be interested to see like I guess no spoilers for the sequels, but I'd be interested to see. I imagine the sequels are probably like I'd say it's like this is just stupid. Like without it feeling like that visceral, I think it would just be a bit like no, I'm not really interested in it.
So should we? Like, are we doing a spoiler-free version of this one? Or?
I mean, it's pretty old, isn't it? Like, I think we could probably just dive right into spoilers, I think, at this point. I mean, it's statute of limitations on spoilers, but I mean...
There you go. Definitely watch this movie, though, guys. Pause now and come back when you've watched it.
If you didn't pause already, then yeah, go do that, because we'll talk about it now.
So, like, this one, like, there is clearly a sense of humor that comes through.
Yeah.
I think the humor really makes it scarier.
Right.
At times, like...
Yeah, there's a lot of it. It's just like, it's so like bizarre. It's like, there's times when I was laughing, I was like, this is just so bizarre. It's like, you have to laugh, but at the same time, it's like also terrifying.
Yeah. It's like, Franklin is like one of the most annoying characters ever. Like,
honestly, to be honest with you, I found all of the characters quite annoying. Like, I was surprised. I wasn't super surprised because it's not like it's sort of typical for these horror movies, but like how long it took for us to get into like the horror stuff. It was a lot of just like...
It's probably a good half hour.
It was easily a good third of the movie. The whole first act was just like, oh, I'm not really enjoying hanging out with these people. They're all really annoying. I really hope somebody comes and chainsaws them soon. Like when he kills Franklin, I was a bit like, that's fine.
Well, that's why, honestly, it's so funny because like you feel bad for Franklin, right? Because he
is annoying.
He has like mobility issues and he's clearly bitter about stuff, but like he just like gets on everybody's nerves, and he insists on being pushed down the hill, even though like it's just like a logistical nightmare.
Right.
And then just at the moment where he's being like the most annoying anyone's ever been, Leatherface just comes out in like what I think is a very terrifying kill, because he just comes out of nowhere with a chainsaw,
just like poking at him,
and immediately just starts gutting him. But it's also a moment of relief, right? Because Franklin's such a pain in the ass.
It was a really interesting choice to have that character, because I don't think it was necessary for the movie. Like, was it really necessary to have this fifth wheel crippled and really annoying dude?
No, not really. No.
Like, did it change the movie at all? I mean, like, it just seemed like a really interesting choice to have a guy who's stuck in a wheel. Because like, part of me was thinking that it's going to be sort of intertwined with what happens. Like, they'll use like the fact that he's got limited mobility, but like they just don't at all, apart from to make it annoying for someone to have to push him through the woods.
not really. Like it is kind of an interesting choice that they decide to go that route.
Yeah.
Because it's like there are a lot of chase sequences in this movie. I think the chase sequences are probably the part that work like the least.
To me, it went on way too long. Like when he's chasing her through the woods, like back and forth, and
just
it's
way
like,
too much screaming.
And like all I could think of was like, there is no way that big dude has got this good cardio. Like he was not stopping, and she was going full pelt running, and he's carrying this chainsaw around and like 300 pounds jogging down the road. I'm like,
probably about 2 kilometers they run.
Yeah, and he's like not slowing down. I'm like, if that was me, I'd be having a heart attack about right now.
And I think chainsaws were pretty heavy back then too, and there's a lot of gas in that one too.
Yeah, and he didn't look like the fittest dude ever. Like,
well, he's mostly eating like a red meat diet.
True enough. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. So, are we supposed to like? And they never referred to the family, right? Is it a Sawyer family or something?
The Sawyers.
Is that like something that they talk about in the sequel?
I don't think that they name them the Sawyers in this one, but they're called the Sawyers in the second one. They do have a few different names across the different movies.
Gotcha.
At one point, they're called the Slaughter family, which is fucking stupid.
That's a bit on the nose.
And then
the Slaughter family.
Trying to think of like the remake from 2003. They had a different name. I can't remember. It's not all that important, but
yeah. Because what? So. Is the implication, like obviously they're cannibals, right? But is the implication that they only eat people that they dig up from the cemetery?
So the way I take it is that they dig up people from the cemetery to decorate their house.
Right. So where are they getting this people meat from? Just random people go driving through this thing? Oh, I guess all the abandoned cars, right?
Yeah, so I think the abandoned car, like, and this is where I think the movie's kind of like a secret masterpiece, is like all the subtle stuff that they put in there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like 10 cars in their backyard or whatever that's hidden by camouflage. That the movie, like, it does not hit you over the head.
No, like I'd forgotten until I literally just brought it up. I was like, where are these? And I was like, oh, the cars.
But so think that, like, when they pick up the hitchhiker says, I want you to come for dinner at my place.
Yeah.
When
that surely doesn't work. However,
probably doesn't work that often. When they're at the gas station, the guy says, "We have no gas. You should hang out here for a while and stay." So I think both of those are ploys to try to get them to stay and hang out for longer.
That's very true.
So some people have had theories about this movie that, you know, if they had just visited their dad's house and then had left, then nothing would have really happened to them.
Right.
And there's a bit of an interpretation for that because, you know, those Kirk and Pam go wandering in, and then that's when they got killed.
Exactly.
And people are saying that, you know, it has a message about, like, you know, property rights, right? Because this is Texas.
I was kind of thinking that,
property
to be honest, I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know what it's like in the 70s, but there's no way in hell I'm wandering onto some hillbilly's farm in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and being like, hey, how's it going? And just walk in their house. Like, you're asking to get murdered, my friend.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like maybe not with a hammer into the cranium, but like...
I don't really respond... I don't really buy into that theory that
I'm not sure that's
they're just passive, because like it definitely seems like there were attempts at like multiple traps laid, and the fact that there are 10 cars there make it seem like they've been doing this for a long time, and that like their primary food source is just eating people who happen to wander through.
Yeah, you know what I just realized as well, like when the guy who was like washing the front of the car, I assumed he was going to show up as part of the family again.
Yeah, I think
like, where did he go?
I think that's kind of like that's almost like a mistake. Like I feel
he was cut out. He was cut out of it or something.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way that guy would be just happen to be employed by the gas station and have nothing to do with it. Like I feel like,
and he was
he was just an actor that they didn't bring back for later in the shoots, right?
Yeah, he went missing or something. Yeah, because he was like, and he was definitely not he was a pretty creepy dude.
Yeah, no, they were definitely like showing him as a creepy dude too, but for whatever reason, he doesn't show up later in the movie or anything. He's credited at the end as just window washer, I think.
Fair enough.
And
maybe it just works for him.
So, like early in the movie, when they pick up the hitchhiker and the guy's acting like the weirdest fucking guy in the world, is the movie working for you at that point?
A little bit. It took me. I was going to say it took me a while, but I never really got over the poor acting of the teenagers or whatever. I just found them really annoying and just took me out of it a bit. Where I was just like, that's like none of the way anyone was acting or reacting I found believable. Just like, but he was like sufficiently creepy. But like that's what I mean. Like I'd be like, you would just be getting this guy out of you. Like don't let him take your knife.
Let's say I like his performance.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, but like everyone reacted to him. It was just they were just kind of like. I mean, I guess they were scared, obviously, but I don't know. It just seemed a bit. I wasn't really buying it.
Basically, like all the teenagers, like I got to give Franklin credit because he did a good job. He accomplishes what he was asked to do. Sally screams too much.
Oh God.
Kirk is. The guy who plays Kirk is pretty good. I think he's sort of just like a laid back guy.
Yeah.
Nothing really much to that character, but he's not like offensively bad or anything.
No.
The guy who plays the cook, he's called Drayton in the sequels.
Oh, okay, right.
I think he's really great.
Yeah.
Because like
he's like poking him with a stick. Oh my God.
Because he kind of wavers between like being disgusted at what's going on and being excited by it. I think it's
he was really, really good.
And then obviously the guy who plays Leatherface, I think it's just like an absolutely incredible performance.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like I think it was the juxtaposition of the teenagers and just being like really boring characters, I thought, and just like horribly annoying and not well acted. And then maybe that was on purpose to juxtapose. So
you don't give
crazy.
A shit when they die.
No, I was like happy when they died. Honestly, I was like, that's what you get for wandering on this person. And like they were dicks, man. They were dicks to most people.
Well, they did pick up a hitchhiker, which I think is like sort of a cool thing to do. You're helping out someone who doesn't have a ride, but it's also like fucking stupidest thing you could do, and like no one does that anymore as far as I know.
What was the significance of him taking the picture and then burning it? That was so odd. It's just like I'm just a freaky weirdo.
The guy, like I think it's just like it's a guy who like he just has no idea how he's supposed to behave in front of other people. Like he's just doing kind of a bunch of random stuff and then explaining to them how head cheese is made and how it's better when they used to just like whack these cows with a hammer as opposed to
Well, and he said as well, didn't he? He's like, my brother, he makes really good head cheese.
Yeah, exactly. So you wonder what the head cheese is made of. It's creepy, and I think they're like the house, like you can sort of tell like it was done on a shoestring budget, but it's also like so creepy as fuck.
It's
like,
really creepy. Like they did a good job of just like decorating it like just like a psychopath.
Like I feel like it works to the movie's advantage that it didn't have like a Hollywood set designer or whatever. Right. It really looks like something that like a couple people put together over a weekend or something.
And it's funny because that's like became like the touch point, right? For like if you're trying to do a creepy psycho house, like do it like this, like hang skulls from the ceiling and put a bunch of weird bird feathers around and creepy crap.
Like what did you think of the first kill? Like when they start wandering into the house there?
I thought it was funny because it wasn't like jump scary, even though it was a bit like if it came out today, that would have been a big like bad like jump scare. But it was just like, but I think the way it did it was like even creepier. It was just like all of a sudden he's there, boom, done, and the way he slams that door, it's just like wow. Like I didn't think like slamming the door would be the scariest thing. It was like holy shit. I
honestly absolutely love that kill. Might be my favorite kill of all time. Like it's really great. and
the way he starts shaking when he hits him the first time. It's just like a total reference back to the slaughterhouse, right?
Yeah, and like as you said, it's not a jump scare because he sort of just wanders in.
Like, oh, hello.
Just like the horror is that he's there all of a sudden, but it's not popped out. Like I feel like a lot of directors could learn a lot from watching that.
Yeah.
And then that slamming the door, like there's just some fucking magic to that. I have no idea how they
so like aggressive. It's almost like it was sped up. He just like slams it so hard.
And it's got like that little like cattle
ramp thing that shakes when you step on it.
And I can tell you how hard it is to pull off a scene like that because, at least like 6 of the movies that come after this tried to do a slamming door just like that. And it's always lame. Like they can't recreate it.
It's one of those things, and it's like, I think it's like you said, it's almost like it was just accidental. It's just like something worked perfectly. The way the track was on the door or whatever, or the timing of it.
The timing is just perfect. Like it's just like music. I know.
It's like
better way to describe it. Like it's an incredible kill, and then right after that you have that amazing shot of Pam walking into the house where it's kind of like looking at her butt sort of. But it's a really great shot, and then her kind of going in and then stumbling into the living room. I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes of the best horror ever.
Yeah, I was a little bit annoyed about how much she was just sort of lying on the floor going.
It definitely goes on for too long at that point. Like, and she's just like coughing and gagging, like just get the fuck up.
It's like, because like if you fell into that room, you'd be up on your feet and fucking running straight away. But she's like, oh no. But I think as well, sometimes I think you could be too harsh on that because you don't know how you'd react. Maybe you would just panic and forget how to walk and just roll around on the floor trying not to vomit because you're just so scared. Like, I could buy that, I suppose. Yeah.
Like I mentioned on our Nightmare on Elm Street episode that my family was really into watching horror movies and stuff growing up. My older sister always said that if she ever found herself in a horror movie, she would just like instantly kill herself right away.
Like, I'm done. Well, I was thinking that as well because like I know you were saying that she was screaming a lot and it was so much and so long and like she did pass out at one point, and I was just thinking to myself like, you couldn't keep it up for that long, surely just be a point where you just be like, you know what, I'm all screamed out now, like let's just see what happens. But it was, and like the scene where it did this super extreme close up of her eye. Yeah. Oh man, it was just
it's so unnerving.
Yeah, it's just like that was really getting to me because it was like she's basically having a mental breakdown for good reason. And the bit where the old man starts sucking on a finger, I was like so shocked when that happened. I was just like, that guy's alive for a start. And he's just sucking on this girl's finger, and she's just like, her face is just like, to be fair, she did a really good job.
Just
like,
complete horror, right?
Just like
maybe give Sally a break because like.
Yeah, like, I mean, there was a lot of screaming, but she did do like, I'm on the edge of just losing my entire mind. Yeah, like pretty well.
Well, and that's how the sequel kind of plays out.
It's just like she's lost her mind completely.
And this isn't a spoiler because it's just.
Did they bring the same actors back?
So Drayton, the guy who plays the cook, is back. He's the only returning actor as far as I know. The guy who plays Leatherface, like they were going to bring him back, but then they were in like contract negotiations that didn't go well, so they brought a different guy on. They had to recast the hitchhiker guy because like obviously he dies, but there's like a different brother who kind of has the same exact vibe as that guy.
We want to bring him back, so we'll just say there's another one.
So the second one, if I can kind of go into like because I watched all 9 of them this month.
Right.
Including this one. This is my second time watching this movie this month.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it getting spoiled, to be fair. I don't think I'll ever watch.
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, kind of just do a broad overview. But the second one, let me check the years here, but it's like 12 years after this one that I come back. It is Tobe Hooper who comes back. And, and in the meantime, he's had like a lot more success. Right. He did Poltergeist with Spielberg and whatever. And to his credit, he does not try to do the same sort of thing again. He really leans into the comedy. Like, the next one is like probably as much a comedy as is a horror, like maybe even more a comedy than a horror.
I wasn't expecting that.
And it gets like really zany. I I think I would eventually like to rewatch that one because I watched it kind of not really knowing what I was getting into, and then I was a little disappointed at it.
I wasn't really ready for that.
But then like it's mostly downhill from there with the sequels and stuff. So I feel like I should go back and watch it with like knowing what I had.
Yeah, sometimes a second viewing when all your expectations are not getting involved, and you can appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah, but then the third one, it's quite bad. Like it's
it's quite bad.
It's got like the plot makes no sense. It's supposed to be a sequel to the first and second movies, but it seems like it kind of just ignores the continuity of both of those. And it's like pretty poor acting throughout. It's got a very young Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, really?
In it, yeah.
Nice.
And then the fourth one has Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And the fourth one's like sort of like being like a meta horror movie.
Okay.
And it has like the family is involved in like cult activities and stuff like that, and like Illuminati stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm just trying to piece them all together in my head.
So, are any of them worth watching? That's my question.
The second one's definitely worth watching.
Right.
The remake from 2003, a lot of people like.
Oh, yeah?
On this rewatch, I didn't really care for it.
Okay.
It's got like that early 2000s like dreary horror stuff, lots of gore.
Right. Yeah, that was the one thing about this movie actually that I found quite surprising. It doesn't give you much in the way of gore, like at all.
No, really. Like
it doesn't show you any. Like the goriest thing was when he cut the guy's knife with the razor blade, or he cuts his arm with the razor blade.
Yeah, like you know what? It honestly is pretty tame by like today's comparisons.
That might have been like you say, it might have been a budgetary thing where they couldn't pay for the effects and all the fake blood and stuff. But like even when he's chainsawing the first guy, when the girl's hung on the hook, like it's done from an angle where you don't see anything, and there's no real any blood splatter or anything, because which I've noticed. Because to your point, like I'm sure that in the 2000s version, it was just like wall to wall blood everywhere and gore and people getting chopped up. But no, there's no. It's like I guess this was before like the body horror stuff. It was like gore porn,
right? Yeah. So I just looked it up, and it looks like because it was originally going to be rated X.
Okay.
This movie.
Wow.
And so they cut some minutes out of it to get an R rating.
Okay, interesting.
So that sort of makes sense. So because a lot of theaters back then wouldn't carry a movie with an X on it, so they cut some stuff down. I did think it was weird how the whole setup was about how the cemetery was robbed. And like the radio kind of goes on for a while about like how like society's going into a decay basically because there's all this crime. So they get to the cemetery. That's supposedly why they drove the van out there.
I guess, right?
That good old Texan boy says, "I'll escort you to your grandfather's grave," and then you don't see anything from that. Like they're just driving in their car, right? So I'm wondering if there's something missing there.
Yeah, it did seem a bit like they just kind of dropped that. That's what I mean. I feel like a lot of the first half hour of the movie was just a bit like, can we get a move on? Like, what's the point of all this?
I agree in that, but then when the killing does start, all of a sudden, like it is shocking.
It is, and like I just said, like maybe you just need that. It's like, and then they used to do that a lot with the old horror movies. It's like it's going to be a slow burn at the start, and then you're going to like live with these people for a bit, and then all of a sudden this horrible stuff's going to happen, and it's going to be jarring because you've not had that for the last 20 minutes. But where these days, I think they just dive right into it and just have them chainsawing people from minute two.
No, pretty much. Well,
or at least open with a scene of someone getting chainsawed and then come back to it later.
Yeah, they did a requel to this movie.
Okay.
In 2022, and it was like a direct to Netflix thing.
How was it?
Very, very heavily inspired by like the Halloween requel that just came out maybe a couple of years before that. And I should say like that was already like the second sort of retconned sequel. So it's the second movie that's been retconned to be the direct sequel to the first movie.
Forget all those horrible sequels. This is the real sequel.
And the killing doesn't really start until about a half hour in as well.
Right.
But it's just like a fucking terrible movie. Like, I'm just kind of, I apologize for fans of like the franchise in general. Like, it's just like not for me. I think this movie is like one of the best horror movies ever, but you know, for whatever reason, like they just were not ever able to capture it again.
Yeah, like I know I've said it before, but I think it does seem like the stars aligned when they were making this one, because it could have very easily been not a good movie.
No, yeah, for sure. Like it could have easily just been like completely tossed away horror movie.
Yeah, like the sum of its parts doesn't necessarily equal greatness.
Yeah.
Unless it could have been done horribly.
Well, I think people say that this is like the first like final girl movie. Like Sally's the first final like
right. I was going to say that because that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of like the final girl, and they're running around screaming, and they're making horrible choices and going into the woods at night and stuff. Like this is kind of one of the first to ever do that. Right?
Yeah. I'm not like a horror film historian or anything like that, but I wonder if people consider this to be like the first proper American slasher. Like it's got to be close. And I know some people say Psycho, which was like more than 10 years before this kind of counts, but
yeah, I don't know.
This sort of kind of kicked off that trend, because then
nuts in the
a couple
80s.
years later you get Halloween, and then you get Friday movies not too far behind that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think you're right. This is probably one that you would say kicked it off, right? That style, at least.
And then later this year, there's a slasher that I like even more, and I think I've talked about this before, but Black Christmas.
Oh yeah, I've not seen that.
I think it's still it's fairly underseen by today's standards. I only saw it like a year ago or whatever, and then I was kind of floored at how great it was. Like
really?
that people don't really talk about it that much anymore. But I think it's great. So two very good slashers from 1974.
There you go.
So what'd you think of the big man himself?
I thought
Leatherface.
I mean, he lived up to it, right? I mean, as I say, he's got good cardio. The scene where it showed you close up of his face and his messed up grill.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, okay, this guy's a psychopath.
Well, I love that he keeps doing different things with the faces. Like he's putting different faces on, he's putting different wigs on, and then he's experimenting with makeup.
I was a bit confused at first. I thought it was supposed to be a different character. I was like, because they could pull someone out. It's like the sister now. I'm confused.
I'm wondering if they did that because they couldn't get a consistency in the mask, so they're like, let's just have him do different stuff all the time.
Make it different. But no, that kind of worked. Yeah, because I wasn't anticipating that, and because the end scene of him just like swinging it around, obviously I'd seen that before, like clips of that, but just like the shot with the golden hour in the background with the sun going down, it's just like such an iconic shot.
It's an incredible shot. And yeah, like
I was a bit worried actually with him swinging that around. I was like, you better be careful. I wonder if it was not actually running, because he wouldn't have noticed. I don't think. Just put the sound in.
Oh, you know what? It probably wasn't running. That's a good point.
Because that was dangerous. Like, he's going to literally take his arm off.
Yeah, and I think I said something about this earlier, but I think that no two movies kind of has a Leatherface that is similar. I think
it's hard to do, right? It's like, especially if they don't bring the same guy back.
Yeah, I think this one, like I just really appreciate this performance. I really think of this Leatherface like, like a 6 or 7 year old kid, right. Basically, right? I
was interested. I found it interesting that they had him talking in certain points.
Yeah, he was like, oh, hello. Yeah. which they don't at all in some of the sequels. Did his brother
call him Leatherface?
Yeah, at one point the hitchhiker says Leatherface.
He's like, Leatherface, come and help me, right?
Yeah, me and Leatherface do all the killing. You don't do the killing. Right. So they do say it too. But then they in sequels, he has like a range of other names that they call him. Like sometimes they say he's Bubba, sometimes it's Jed. It's always kind of lame. Like and his character does it changes all the time. Like in the second one, he sort of is like, I don't know. I guess that you could call him an incel. or something, right? Like he's very
I was
like
expecting that, to be honest.
he's very like sexually frustrated.
Okay.
The third one, it's implied that he has kids, which I think is fucking weird as
What?
hell.
Yeah, that's odd.
And then as the movies go on, he kind of just becomes like just a monster, like just
I
a
was going to
beast.
say that's where I was expected him to turn into just like unstoppable killing machine. They all do though, right?
And like in this one from 2022, which is like a piece of shit movie that you should not watch.
Don't come at me. That's Trevor's opinion.
They really just make him Michael Myers.
Yeah, I was going to say they did that with a lot of those characters. I think they just
or Jason, which there's already way too many similarities between Jason and Michael Myers. But like people were like unloading shotgun shells into Leatherface. And he's just like looking at it and then just like still coming at them. Like he's not supposed to be fucking superhuman.
Right.
And I think
they always end up superhuman. Although in this one he was like, he wasn't slowing down. Like I said, like he chainsawed like he's like femoral artery in his leg, and he still got up and started running.
He's a hybrid athlete. He does strength and cardio training.
Yeah. And he doesn't even need 2 legs to do it.
But I think where the sequels also go wrong is like they think that Leatherface is a starring villain, whereas like he belongs in a family ensemble.
It's like as an
right?
ensemble for sure. I wasn't expecting that as much. Like I knew that there was a family and whatnot, but yeah, I thought it would be more him, especially when it started and it seemed to be just him, and then they sort of brought the others into it.
Yeah. Did you see the twist with the cook coming?
Yeah, definitely. Like as soon as
like before she got to the gas station.
I right from the beginning when he was like, "Oh, I've got good barbecue," and they're all like, it showed them eating the barbecue, and he does that look at you. He's like, that tastes weird. And I was like, he's definitely eating people.
Did you catch what the name of the barbecue joint was called?
No.
We Slaughter.
No, it's not.
It's called We Slaughter Barbecue.
You know what? That's genius. I love it. No, but I did think that right away, and I think obviously, like you're like, oh yeah, it's cannibals. I was like, oh, come and have some barbecue. I was like, yeah, that's people.
When he's like, yeah, those girls don't want to be going on that house. They should just hang out here, have some barbecue.
Right. And then especially when she ran in, and he's like, oh no, you're fine. There's nobody out there. I was like, no, you're not fine.
Yeah, there's no fucking way. Well, I don't mean to just be shitting on the sequels all the time, but like a large amount of the movies, like probably like 7 of the 8 sequels, they have to have some scene where they're sitting down for a twisted dinner scene.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's like the touch points they have to do. Like I'm sure every time he's got to have a chainsaw swinging around, and they're going to sit down for a dinner.
Yeah. And they don't do this one every time, but they do. They hit the beat of, the protagonist thinks that they're safe, but then this person happens to be in cahoots with the family or is part of the family or whatever. So they kind of revisit the same beats over and over again.
Yeah, that sucks when movies do that.
So it's like
that's kind of sequels though tend to do that, or like just try and redo the first movie.
I have no fucking idea where.
Well, the first one moved. We'll just do it again, but slightly change some things 5 more times.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask you what you think of the end of this movie, because I found it very kind of a bit weird, like when the truck comes and like runs him over.
Why did he get out of the truck?
Yeah, and not only why did he get out of the truck, it seemed a bit like, why do we even need this character here? Because the truck runs the guy over and he stops, and then he gets out and then does the best like, oh fuck about face turn, which was hilarious. But then they jump out the back of the truck and they're running around, and he throws a banner at his head, and I was like, this is turning into Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And the guy doesn't have any lines. He doesn't even say anything. And then I guess he just runs away.
Yeah, he just kind of keeps going.
And then the guy comes with the truck and does like a hairpin turn, and then like he drives away, and you don't barely even see that guy's face. I was a bit like, why are they introducing these extra characters? It seems like odd to have. I think it was just throwing me off that there was 2 separate vehicles showed up, and he's just swinging his chainsaw around. I was like, it seems a bit unnecessary to have all that happen. It could have just been, come, hit him in the truck, he's dead, and then just drive away.
The pickup truck makes a strange choice too, to like first blow by her and then stop and then turn around, which is
right,
and that causes it to stall
and
out.
then wait for her to climb into the back without even trying to help, and then just driving away.
So yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but like
I mean, it didn't ruin it or anything. It was just a bit odd choices.
There certainly is a lot going on in that last 2 minutes or whatever. The hitchhiker definitely would have caught up to her. Like he did sort of catch up to her too
I think he was
soon.
I think he was playing, right? Like he kept slicing at her back with the switchblade. I think that's what I got from it. I think he was like playing with her at that point, which seemed like a really dumb choice because he's like going off to a main road where apparently there's a ton of traffic.
It's a miracle that guy lasted as long as he has.
And I've also thought the guy in the big truck did not try very hard to not run that guy over. He was like, "Oh, there's a guy in the road. I'll just run him over."
Well, it was just moments after dawn. It's like I was probably going all night, and then
maybe he was asleep.
Yeah, it's like I don't need this shit.
I don't understand why. Like once they got into the truck, and he obviously couldn't get in with that chainsaw. They could have just driven away. He's like, "No, I'll grab my wrench and we'll just jump out and run away."
Yeah, it was a really strange choice for him to just hop out of the.
Yeah, well, that's why I was coming back.
But you're in a panic too,
yeah,
right?
That's why I was coming back to what I said earlier. It's like you don't know how you're gonna react. You're just panicking. Like, you grab the wrench and you run away, man. Maybe it wouldn't start. I don't know.
Yeah, some Monday morning quarterbacking here.
Exactly. No, it was something about the way they were shot. It's like it never, like the camera never focused on those characters. It never gave you any sort of like, hey, this is who this guy is. Which I'm not saying it needed to. It just seemed a bit odd that it was like almost like these ethereal characters show up and just like save them, and we don't even have no idea who they are, or not even try and explain who they are one bit. Not that it really needed it, I suppose, but I know it just struck me as odd.
I agree with you that it's odd. I still just love the ending. I kind of love the random chaos, and I love the fucking dance. I think it's such a great way to end the movie.
Yeah, that I'll give you. Like when they hit that shot, I was like, wow, that's like an iconic shot.
But it's such a great way to end a movie and like keep your villain alive, right?
Yeah.
That it's not like it's such a great moment where she's just like cackling in the back of the pickup,
totally lost her mind by that point.
and like rightfully so. Like I would be insane halfway through those events.
Yeah. Oh my word. Yeah. When do they have it tied up? It's just it really just took its time. It didn't rush or anything.
Yeah.
And it was like
there's no plot to this movie. Basically.
Like, why are we spending so much time on this? Like, it's really killing me inside because it's so weird. Like when they're trying to get the grandpa to hit with the hammer, it's like trying like 6 or 7 or 8 times. I'm just like, they're still doing this. Like, what's happening?
I gotta say, Grandpa's prowess with the hammer is a little exaggerated. I think. I don't think he's the best at killing.
Not anymore. I'm surprised he's not turning to dust. Like that makeup was, I thought, quite good because I was like,
I think that guy was like 20 years old or whatever in that makeup.
I was not expecting him to supposed to be alive when they went and got him down the stairs. And then he put even when he put her finger in his mouth, I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. They're putting him in a dead man in this corpse's mouth, and then he starts sucking it, and that's when her face is just like, oh, I think that's when she passes out, right? Because I was like, yeah, that'd be when I'm like, you know what, I'm fucking done here. Like this corpse has now come alive and he's trying to suck my blood. I was like, is he a vampire? What's going on?
Grandpa makes a few.
I was gonna say, does he come back? Does he come back again? You can't bring him back, surely.
Yeah, he's got some longevity too.
Yeah, apparently, he just needs blood and he'll live forever.
Yeah. Well, Franklin, when they're in the van, says, like, what do you have a whole family of Draculas?
Oh, that's true, because he calls him Dracula, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe.
So not that they're vampires necessarily, but
yeah, just like they really focus on the fact that he put the blood on the van and he almost like put a mark on there.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be related to like the Zodiac shit or whatever. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know what that sign is or anything.
Yeah,
but
I think they were trying to make a lot of connection there between like, I'm sure it's like the occult stuff, I guess. But
one, like the Sawyer family, they had arranged all this like bone shit around there.
All stuff on the fucking porch or whatever.
So do you think that they had put that bone stuff on the porch of that house like a long time ago, or did they put it there that day knowing that the family that those kids were going to be there that day?
I can't imagine they would have done it that day, because who would have done it? How would they have got
I guess
there?
it would have been
like
first? Logistically. No, I meant like, you know, because they were there for like a half hour looking upstairs, so they snuck in and did that.
Snuck in while they were there.
But
No,
I guess that probably doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I don't think they knew to do it because like the only person that knew, I guess the gas station guy knew to do it, but he didn't know where they were going,
Yeah,
right?
I think there's a phone there, by the way. I think
right.
they
There
got a phone.
definitely is a phone there.
So is that generator just running all the time?
I was thinking that because it looked like it was hooked up to a giant like gas can. Did you notice? Like it looked like it had like a silo of gas cans. Like
so, like that's where the electricity comes from.
Really
just a fucking generator.
But, I mean, if you have your own gas station, you probably can get a good deal cheap.
Well, kind of like I don't really want to look for meaning in this movie too much because I don't know if it necessarily like has a deeper meaning.
I bet there's a lot of people doing deep dives online about it, though. I would imagine.
How I kind of interpret this is that like it's just fucking weird to live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Because like that place is like they're an hour away from the next gas station,
right?
And that family has been living in that spot forever. They're inbred and they're fucking weird, and it's weird to like be apart from society like that.
But that's when I come back to though. Doesn't that make it even weirder to just like wander into their property and just be like, hey, there's probably reasonable people living here in this dilapidated house.
Wow, so you think they got what they deserve?
Yes, definitely. I think stupid people deserve to die like that. Maybe not deserve to die, but it just like
I don't think like
it's really weird. Like you can't just walk into people's houses.
Yeah,
creepy in the middle of nowhere.
There's no scenario where I'm just like walking into a stranger's house.
No. Like I would not even be on that property.
Like I know like when I got here, you had left the door open for me to wander in. And I'm like, I still felt weird about like I knew that you wanted me to open the door.
Right, exactly.
I felt weird about doing it.
Exactly. You don't want to just walk into people's houses even when you know them, never mind, like in the middle of nowhere. An obviously creepy property.
Well, that reminds me of this time when I was a kid and my brother's friend came over to our house and like he'd been there many times before.
Did you hit him with a mallet?
No, I didn't. But I didn't know. He just walked in the front door when he got there, and my dad's like, "What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? You cannot just walk in the front door. You're gonna go back out and knock.
You don't live here." No, it's true though, man. Okay, one thing I was gonna say. This is another reason why I'm like, these people are just idiots or just like deserve to die. Who in their right mind finds a human tooth on the floor of someone's porch and is like, oh, you know what would be funny if I give this to my girlfriend?
Yeah.
You're an insane person.
I feel bad now for saying that Kirk is an alright guy.
He's not. He's not. He's an insane person. Like, that's insane to do that. And then to be like, you know what, I'm going to go see what else is in this house.
You know what? I just respect Kirk for when the hitchhiker's in the car and just like, no, we don't have time, man. We gotta go. Sorry.
He's just like looking at him like, what the hell?
But yeah, and then he wanders into the house. You're right. Kirk sucks too. All right. And Jerry just walks in there too.
What was it? By the way, is Jerry, right? The guy who was driving.
Yeah.
What's his problem with Sally? Because he's like, I'm going to go see where those guys are. And she's like, I'll come with you. And he's like, no, you stay here. I'm going to go by myself. And I was thinking, that is a weird thing to say.
Well, I think maybe he's saying like, well, you need to stay here with Franklin, but he doesn't want to say that necessarily out loud.
But why would he care about her staying with Franklin? Wouldn't he just be like, yeah,
I think he just doesn't think Franklin can take care of himself.
I just got the impression that he wouldn't care about Franklin as much as potentially getting his end away with this girl in the woods.
But no, he is
like, I got the impression he was like, I'm done with you. I fucking hate you. And I was like, wow, did they cut a scene out where she like knocked him back or something? Because he seems really pissed off about something. And he's like, no, I'm going by myself. You stay here.
Yeah, like, wow. He's a little dismissive of Sally. Like, I feel like Sally should have stuck up for herself a little bit, saying like, fuck you, dude. You don't. But like, you're not the captain of this mission.
Weren't they supposed to be a couple? Like, I got my impression was that Franklin was massively a fifth wheel in this whole endeavor.
They are supposed to be a couple. They don't really have like couple scenes together though.
Maybe he was pissed off that Franklin actually came at all because he was definitely a bit of a buzzkill.
Yeah, he was buzzkill, but he knew where everything was, right? So I think they still had to invite him.
And it was his say, like, he's like, oh yeah, this is where my dad's house is.
Yeah.
But did he really know where it was though? He didn't seem like super know where it was.
I feel like they should sell that property.
I thought it was a bit harsh. When they get to that place, they all immediately just run up the stairs.
Totally ditch him.
Like, we're going up the stairs because that's the only place he can't go.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel bad for him because he's just on the main floor, like making fart sounds.
that was weird. That's like do it once maybe, but they just like kept doing it. It was like, oh, that works. I'm gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be a bit like mentally delayed? Because he was acting like he was like a 6-year-old for a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think he's just like...
That's what I mean. I don't think he was supposed to be. But some of the stuff he was doing, but to be fair, some of the stuff they were all doing was a bit like that.
Well, I guess like the hitchhiker guy, maybe he's just not used to talking to people that much. Like, and they seem to have had a bit of a rapport, the two of them, when the guy first got into that van.
That's true. Yeah, they were like getting excited about killing cows and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really odd. Like when the guy cuts his own hand, it's just like. Okay. So
before we close out, I want to talk about the 3 ways that this movie was sequelized.
Okay.
Because I mentioned before, there's 3 different movies that try to be a direct sequel to this movie.
Right. So I'm guessing like the first one is just do it again, do the same thing again.
So no, actually so Texas Chainsaw 2 takes place years later. In the opening crawl, it says Sally went crazy.
Okay.
She reported things to police, but then
plucked it all out.
They never actually found any of the bodies of the Sawyer people or whatever. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense at all because that pickup truck driver knew exactly where all that shit was.
Yep.
And so the Sawyer family's
kind of... they're hiding all that shit.
In the second one, the Sawyer family's just traveling around Texas taking the show on the road, basically, and then they have a layer
like a fun bus.
But the fact that like the police never found anything is like ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense.
It's a bit hard to believe.
Fits with the movie because the movie's just doing some zany crap.
Right.
The second time, when they do a direct sequel thing, it takes place like a half hour after this one ends.
Oh, really?
And I thought, okay, this is actually a really good idea. You're doing like the Rogue One and New Hope
and Darth Vader shows up.
But that movie is like dog shit. Like it's it's terrible. Very, very cheaply done. I think that idea has something to it.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, I like picking up right after for doing a sequel. That can work really well.
And then the third time they try to do a direct sequel to them, it's in the wake of the Dallas Gordon Green Halloween movie.
Right.
I don't know. Did you see those?
I didn't see them, but I heard they were well received.
So that one ignores all the other Halloween movies except for the first one, and then makes it just like 50 years later or 40 years later this happened, and then this Texas Chainsaws did the same thing. 50 years later, between events, nothing else happened.
Right. It just becomes more of a legend.
They bring Sally back as a very old lady.
Oh, okay. That is the actress?
Yeah, I think it's the same actress. I didn't double check, but she wasn't very good at acting, so I assume it's the same person.
She wasn't very good at acting.
No disrespect.
Did she scream a lot, though?
No, like
the original Scream Queen.
She was like a hardened woman, just the same way that Jamie Lee Curtis plays her character in the Halloween movie. Like it's honestly like a complete rip off of that one, which I don't even think is that good of a movie, to be honest. But
fair enough.
Yeah, so 3 different ways to sequelize this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the end of my talk about all the sequels, I promise.
Okay. There was something I was going to ask you, but it totally left my mind now. Oh, well. What else? What haven't we covered off yet in this? Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. They made a really big deal about his knife and, like, where is the knife? And you let the knife last and, like, go look for it in the van. And, like, I was waiting the whole movie. I was like, Chekhov's knife is showing up at some point to help her escape. And it never comes back. I'm like, why even have a knife then?
That's a good idea. Like, yeah, like she put it in her pocket or something, and then she finds it there.
Fortuitously finds it because somebody had it and dropped it or whatever.
There must have been something planned for it.
Right? Because like they're like, where's the knife? Go look for the knife. You had it last. I'm like, why are they talking about this knife? The only reason they talk about this knife is because it's going to show up later. We know this. So when's it showing up? And it just didn't.
So let me see. I did a quick Google.
Where's the knife?
Looks like it's a common question everybody has.
About the knife?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just me then. To your point though, maybe it is something they were going to do and then just never did, or just cut it out because it didn't really work.
Yeah.
Because normally that's what happens, right? Normally they fortuitously find a weapon that then they're able to escape. Like the way they did it in this is that she just kind of pushed him over and ran and jumped out of a window. You know, she jumped out of a window twice in this movie.
They shouldn't have done that twice.
It's like, come on now.
I think the second time is actually like well done. Like it's sort of just like she's just a bit weird. She kind of just becomes an animal. She's just fighting for her own survival.
Like the first one was just a bit like, what are you doing? She just kind of like runs and jumps out the window like it's a cartoon.
Yeah, I feel like she's not quite crazy enough to have attempted that.
No,
at that point.
No. Especially because the first time she does it, she's like on the second floor of the house. She's like, whoa, what are you doing, love?
It was a good jump.
And then she just gets up and carries on running.
Yeah, you've been complimenting Leatherface's cardio, but haven't said anything about her agility and her nimbleness.
She's a young, like, strapping lass.
Yeah.
Like, of course she can keep going.
That's why.
Yeah, they definitely did need to cut down that chase because they're like, when they're running in the woods and he's cutting the branches, and I'm just like, wow, she's really running around in these woods.
Like I do find it,
and he was right behind her.
I do find it terrifying, but it does go on for too long.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would have cut necessarily from that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I did love the fact that he like destroys the front door, and the guy is so pissed off that he destroyed the door. Like, look what you brother did! You destroyed the door.
And like he's trying to get mad at Leatherface for screwing something up, but like he caught all the people and he chopped them all up. So he's like, he can't be mad at anything he did. So he's like, you're ruining the door. Like he just goes back to that.
I was like, where's? And he's because his point was like, I got one in the freezer, I got this one here, did everything. He's like, well, you fucking ruined the door. It did seem a bit like no need. Like you didn't need to totally chainsaw into cinders.
Yeah, leave Leatherface alone.
I guess. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
He did do a bad job of chainsawing that door.
He did a pretty bad job of chainsawing most things he tried to chainsaw. Really, I'm going to be honest. Apart from, I forgot his name. Wheelchair guy, Franklin.
Yeah, he. I guess the only one who died by chainsaw, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's the other thing. I was like, even the opening crawl was like, it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what it's done. I was like, and I'm thinking, didn't really do a lot of massacring with that chainsaw.
Well, I guess because the story is going to come out from the three surviving witnesses.
I guess he did chase it with a chainsaw.
He did have a chainsaw there, so that's going to be the lead.
And he did do a lot of running around with that chainsaw in a terrifying way, and he didn't necessarily murder people with it.
Yeah, there was a Texas Chainsaw, and there was a massacre.
Yeah.
Not the massacre. It's more of like a sledgehammer massacre.
Yeah, I was going to say the Texas Sledgehammer Massacre is not as scary.
Yeah, there are at least 2 kills with that hammer.
Yeah. Even Grandpa doesn't go with it. It almost seemed more like a hatchet at that point. Because she got a good ding on her head.
You got a couple good dings, but Leatherface was helping him by that point.
Didn't slow her down though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Like, and just the creepy chair that she's tied to that already has severed arms tied to it.
It's so funny.
And they tie the arms to her arms to the already severed arms. It's just like, it's so like bad shit.
But I don't know, man. This movie, like, it just feels like it really captures like just a bunch of evil fucking people.
Yeah, it's a really difficult line to tread between being silly and being scary. Yeah. And many people have tried since and have not done it well. And like I say, like if you take a step back and look at it, it's like, it's pretty goofy, but just the way they did it, and it just really worked. I can't even really put my finger on why.
Yeah. Well, like the mood in this basement while we were watching it was tense.
It was a bit. Like I was getting like when he started sucking her finger, I was like, oh my days, like what's happening? Oh man.
All right. Any last words for this spooky season?
I was definitely scared by that movie. I don't watch a lot of horror movies because I don't like being scared. But no. What about you? Like, where would you rank Texas Chainsaw Massacre on your classic horror top 10?
I don't know. Like certainly top 5 slasher.
Yeah.
It's going to be up there. So I don't know about top 10 horror all time.
Yeah, that's
tough,
a bit too broad. I guess I mean more like this kind of
it's certainly like
genre.
It certainly would be in the top 20 anyways. But like it's definitely one of the best slasher movies, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'd have Black Christmas above it. Right. I'd have Elm Street above it.
That's fair.
Then obviously Psycho, if you count that one. Then yeah,
right.
Maybe that is like the 4th best slasher or whatever. But
so you're not a Friday the 13th, Halloween kind of guy?
Well,
because they're the other 2 big slasher ones, right?
I like them for what they are, but I don't think they have any movie in the catalog that reaches like these heights.
Yeah, that's fair. I would agree with that, I think. All right.
But yeah, pretty good for the main, like the main franchise movies or whatever. This one's very competitive.
The big well-known ones.
Yeah. Except this franchise as a whole sucks,
right.
Which I think I've said a few times.
Yeah, you did mention
it. Hasn't been my funnest like October franchise.
I like how you
watch.
decide to watch them all, and you're like, yeah, this one sucks, this one sucks, this one sucks.
Yeah. Well, by the time I got to like the 4th one, I'm like, oh no, like I'm in for a long haul.
I've made a terrible
here.
mistake.
Yeah. They're not even bad in interesting ways.
Right. Like not so good. This so bad it's good.
I know there's some like Texas Chainsaw person listening to this who loves these movies, and I'm sorry, they're just not for me.
That's fine. It don't have to be for everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, that guy.
All right. or gal.
Yeah, or Bubba or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, so from the First Look Final Word podcast to all of you, hoping you had a really scary October.
Yeah, and happy Halloween. Until next time, that's the final word.